Hello everyone, this is Darryl20 and welcome to episode 80 of Darryl20's Let's Play of Minecraft 1.21. Surprise, we're already at 80. Holy cow. I remember just starting this episode series, it feels like 2.5 months ago. Oh wait. Anyway, hey, today I want to get into a new mod that I've never played with before. I don't know anything about, and it's called Theurgy. I don't think I've ever touched this mod. So what I'm gonna do is check it out today. I don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes. I know it's about alchemy and you can use it to make stuff. And I know a lot of the times when I'm like looking at recipes for things, it I think has a Theurgy component. I might be wrong on this one, but I know there's a lot. Yeah, there you go. Cool. So you can make nether quartz somehow with this mod. How and how good and how interesting, I have no idea. I know nothing about nothing. All I know is that Theurgy has like some kind of alchemy type thing. It's not, according to its description page on its mod page on CurseForge, it says it's not as crazy as Equivalent Exchange. But you know, it's I think ish up. I don't know. I have no idea. We're gonna check it out. Now, I sometimes come into mods when I'm doing a series like this where I like know everything about the mod and I completely tutorialize it and I explain how everything works. Like I've done with like Applied Energistics. And sometimes I have a pretty good idea of how the mod works. And like I have to figure out some things on camera. Like I did just recently with Extreme Reactors. And sometimes I walk into a mod having no idea about anything. And on one hand, maybe I should have investigated it some more so I could come to you and teach you how it works. But on the other hand, I felt like sometimes it's cool for you guys to see me discover a mod from the beginning. So full disclosure, I don't know anything about this mod. I'm going to come into it like completely new. And what I'm going to do is if I fail in the first episode or two to figure out how this thing works, I will go do research and come back. But I think it'll be fun for you guys to see me figuring this out, you know, kind of on the go. So that said, let's get into this mod. Pretty cool looking. All right, so you can get started right here. And we're going to flip through some of these things in just a moment. And then up here, okay, cool, neat. And then open book, okay, nice, that's cool. Modnomicon is the mod that gives you this nifty in-game guide. So let's read through this book together, okay? So about this work. The following pages will lead the novice alchemist on their journey through the noble art of transformation of matter and mind. This humble author will share their experiences, thoughts, and research notes to guide the valued reader in as safe a manner as the subject matter allows. If the reader finds themselves in trouble of any kind, prompt assistance will be provided at the Council of Alchemists known as Cleekly's Discord. So you can go check that out if you are so inclined. So the art of alchemy. Welcome, dear reader, to Theurgy, a mod that explores the ancient and revered art of classical alchemy. As you embark on your journey through the noble art of transformation, you will be equipped with divination rods to make finding resources in the world easier. Through diligent study and patience, you will then learn to use alchemical devices to refine, replicate, and transform resources into new and useful materials. Along the way, you will have the opportunity to craft alchemical devices and equipment to aid you in your endeavors. As a final note, alchemists are guided by reason and logic, not superstition or magic. Our experiments are based on careful observation, meticulous record keeping, and rigorous testing. We do not claim to possess supernatural powers, but rather seek to harness the natural forces of the world around us to achieve our goals. So the features of this mod include divination rods to find ores, ore refining, more ingots per ore of raw metal, and item transformation, convert items to other items. Sounds pretty cool. There's also item transportation, which is planned in the future, weapons and equipment, and devices to assist in common tasks. So those are some future planned features. Cool. All right, so I'm guessing these are things that we want to follow through on. About divination rods, an introduction to ore finding. Are a valuable instrument used to locate ores and other valuable blocks. In order to show the location of block, it must first be attuned to it. There are two methods for attuning, depending on the type of rod: by crafting a rod with the alchemical sulfur of the desired block, or by using a rod on the desired block. Attuning a rod to a block will cause it to point towards that nearest block of that type. Pre-attuned rods, those that are crafted with alchemical sulfur, are more stable and thus have much higher durability, but require more effort to craft. Cool. Shift-click a block to attune a rod to it. Right-click and hold to let the rod search for blocks. Right-click without holding after a successful search will let the rod show the last found block without consuming durability. Cool. So let's see. Oh, there's all kinds of different kinds of divination rods. Okay. Not attuned to any material. Interesting. So I guess like glass is the most basic, but you can get fancier ones as you go through. Nifty. Let's go with like an iron one. I'm assuming the main difference being durability. I'm going to assume that the main difference here is durability. More than likely. All right, so just for fun, I'm going to just test this thing on a diamond. So I think I shift right click to attune it. That's cool. Okay. And then hold right click. Oh, nice. That's nifty. All right. Now, granted, I'm 80 episodes into this series. This is the first item in the mod. Please don't complain about the mod, not being as powerful as this, like, end game tier item from Just Iron Things. But yeah, that's cool. I like it. Nifty. Not a bad start to whatever we're doing. Very cool. And it wasn't there another mod that had a similar functionality? It was, it's the one with the trees and like the things are invisible. Am I wrong? And like you have to eat the demon fruit that you grow in order to like. Is it occultism? Does occultism have a similar? It does. I'm right. It is occultism. Has a similar Okay, cool. I'm guessing this mod is from the same mod author as occultism then. I would hope. I would think. Or they got permission to use like similar textures, but that's cool. Yeah, and I think occultism uses the same Modnomicon book, so that's also cool. So I'm assuming same mod author. Neat. Okay, I knew this was familiar. I knew this looked familiar. So that's cool. Awesome. All right, good deal. Good deal. All right, so flipping through the book, that's the divination dudes. A basic tunable rod for locating common and abundant ores. And then there's the sulfur attuned divination rod, pre-attuned rods for locating abundant and common. Okay, cool. That's neat. But we're gonna have to get into like that whole thing. And then there's like other rods out there. Cool. All right, so let's get into this is the credits. Cool. Looks cool. Definitely neat. Check it out. Let's get into this. Spagyrics. Why with the words that Dyer can't pronounce? Spagyrics sounds completely incorrect to me. My brain says that is not the right way to pronounce that word. It is derived from Greek for to separate and reunite. As such, it is the process of separating, purifying, and recombining the three principles or elements of matter. Alchemical salt, sulfur, and mercury. The inquisitive mind may ask, why would one want to do that? The answer lies in the promise of total control over all aspects of matter, including the ability to create any type of matter from any other type. Haha. Or, more concisely put, get more use out of your materials. Neat. Okay. The applications of spirit are manifold. The most obvious is efficiently refining of raw materials. However, Sparax processes also provide the foundation of transforming one material into another. The principles, or essentials, are the three basic elements of all things are made of. Despite the name, they are unrelated to the common materials often associated with these words, such as table salt, metallic mercury, and the mineral sulfur. Okay, so they are different. Alchemical salt is the principle representing the body of a thing. It provides the matrix wherein sulfur and mercury can act. As such, it is associated with materiality, stability, and manifestation in the physical world. Alchemical sulfur is the soul of a thing. It represents the unique properties of a piece of matter, such as how it will look, feel, and how it interacts with other things. Transforming the sulfur of one thing is the underlying idea of transmutation. And then alchemical mercury is the energy or life force of a thing. It is the most elusive of the three principles and enables the other two principles to function. Cool. Okay. Sounds neat. So it looks like we have to do incubating iron before we can get to whatever this thing is about. Ore refining, triple your ore yield. So granted, I already have an ore refining process. I still want to check this one out because I'm curious to see how it works, right? The easiest application is the refining of ores and raw metals. The process of smelting metal in a furnace is wasteful as it only yields a single ingot per ore, losing a lot of the precious raw material in the process. Alchemists can extract even the last iota of value from ores, but the process is somewhat more complex. The first application of spagyrics, thus we will be efficient refining of raw metal into multiple ingots. In the following pages and entries, we will attempt to create 3 iron ingots out of just 1 raw iron using the process. Okay. To refine an ore or raw metal, you will first need to liquefy it. which will yield multiple metal sulfur. Additionally, you need to obtain multiple heaps of mineral salt to provide a body for this multiplied sulfur, and some mercury shards to provide the mercury for the soul of the resulting refined ingots. The next entries will guide you through the process of obtaining all the materials and creating your iron ingots. Cool. So we're going to step through this process together. Before I do that, though, I want to get some iron to refine. And I assume it's raw iron I'll be able to refine. So what I'm going to do is that to manually, generate what we need to generate. And my pickaxe isn't still here from, I moved it over there. I should have 2 pickaxes. I just haven't gotten around to making it yet. And then that raw iron, I just want some of it. Cool. And then you should be dropping, right, buddy? Good. Just making sure. Just making sure the automation is working. You never know. Okay. So we'll do this automation somewhere. I could probably move some of these things. Man, you take a long time to break, huh? I'm suspecting this thing doesn't have a proper tool to find. That's a guess. Maybe wrong. Thank you. Okay, so you guys all go away for the time being, so I have a little bit of room to play in. And let's fix our wall that we so unceremoniously broke. Fixed? I think so. Okay, good. So now I've got some raw iron to process. So let's check it out. Required apparatus. So ore refinery needs all the Spagyrics apparatus to extract the needed materials and recombine them. The following pages list all the needed machines. View the apparatus category to view how to craft them. I'm guessing that's this guy over here. Is that right? About apparatus. Yes. Okay, cool. You'll need a pyromantic brazier. You will need 4 of these to power the other apparatus. Theurgy. This guy. Okay, looks pretty cool. We need 4 of these. I'm suspecting I'm going to need a little bit of space, so I'm going to do this outside. I've now decided we're going to be outside based on the fact that we need 4 of these. This feels like a larger-ish kind of area. Cool. A calcination oven will allow you to create the mineral salt. Calcination oven. Seems easy enough. Okay. The sal ammoniac accumulator will fill the sal ammoniac tank with solvent. Sal ammoniac accumulator. Okay, cool. The sal ammoniac tank stores the solvent, sal ammoniac, for use in the liquefaction, and then the liquefaction cauldron. So we want a sal ammoniac tank. And then we're going to want liquefaction cauldron, which needs a cauldron. Okay. And that uses sal ammoniac to extract alchemical sulfur. Cool. We're going to need a mercury distiller to create mercury shards. The incubator recombines the salt, sulfur, and mercury into the refined item. 4 in our case. It needs 1 each of salt vessel, mercury vessel, incubator, and sulfur vessel to hold the input materials. So we need an incubator. Next steps. Craft all the apparatus and place them. The sal ammoniac accumulator needs to be placed on top of the sal ammoniac tank. So sal ammoniac accumulator gets placed on top of the tank. Do I care where this goes? Probably not. Like, probably about here. I'm going to build it all because I have no idea how any of this works, and then we will put it somewhere more reasonable. All right, so accumulator goes on top of tank. Neither of them have a UI, by the way. I'm just putting that out there. Those that need heating need to be placed on the pyromantic braziers. Put some fuel, such as coal, into to heat them. Okay. I think we're going to this chapter for a moment. About Apparatus. So... Cool. How to use apparatuses. Generally, each apparatus has one specific function, such as generating heat or performing a specific processing operation. Further, all apparatus follow a standardized interaction pattern that makes it easier to use them both for manual interactions and for automation. To interact with an apparatus, approach it and right-click on it, taking output items. If you have an empty hand, the machine will first try to take the contents of its output slot and place them in your inventory. Taking input items. If there are no output items, it will instead try to place the contents of the input slot into your inventory, effectively emptying it. If you have an item in your hand, the apparatus will automatically try to insert that in the input slot. If you click on an apparatus with a filled fluid container in your hand, it will try to empty the container. If you click with an empty bucket, it'll try to fill it. Got it. Crouch and right-click on an apparatus to empty all fluids from it. This is particularly useful if small amounts of fluid are left, but you want to add a full bucket. Cool. All right. So mercury flux, spagherotic. So this is the one we're doing, right? Separating and recombining the three principles. This is where we're currently at, I believe. Cool. So let's see if there's like detailed stuff on like the sal ammoniac tank. Needs to be placed below a sal accumulator, which is this guy. Needs to be placed on top of a sal ammoniac tank. Okay, but how do I use them? That's obtaining sal ammoniacs, the key to sulfur extraction. All right, solvents strip matter of their salt and mercury, leaving the alchemical sulfur behind. The most common solvent is sal ammoniac in liquid form. Traces of solvent can be extracted from water. Set up a sal ammoniac accumulator with a tank below. Fill the accumulator with water. Wait. Speeding it up. Instead of waiting for trace amounts to accumulate, you can dissolve a sal ammoniac crystal in the water to speed up the process significantly. After placing the sal ammoniac accumulator on a sal ammoniac tank, right-click the sal accumulator with the water buckets up to 10 to fill it. Adding crystals. Optionally, you can now right-click with a crystal obtained from mining. You will get sal ammoniac regardless, but the crystal will speed up the process significantly. Once the tank has been filled up sufficiently, you can right-click it with an empty bucket to obtain a bucket. Cool. Okay. So if we look at Theurgy, we should have some crystals here. Nice. So then what we want is a just dire things. I'll use one of these fluid canister guys, right? And we'll fill it up with water. Now, can I just... do I put it in here? Hey, that worked. 7 buckets worth. Cool. And then 3 more. Nice. Okay. That's not too bad. And then I can optionally click this guy on there, and this will speed it up significantly, apparently. Oh yeah, that made it do a bucket at a time, as opposed to less than a bucket at a time. Okay, well that's cool. So I can either just like let it chill, or not, right? And then I can get buckets at a time, presumably. Well, I can actually extract it all, so I don't have to wait. Nice. Now we have a lot of sal ammoniac, so I might just put the whole stack in there. And that's pretty nifty. Okay. Now I've got 3,800. Interesting. So does it not... It's not 1-to-1, I'm guessing, in terms of... I think it's like a bucket becomes 100 millibuckets. That's what I'm going to assume, is a bucket becomes 100 millibuckets. Yeah, that makes sense. So if I got 2 more buckets, that'll be 10. That'll make like 1 bucket's worth, right? Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, and then with the crystal in there, it's 1 bucket becomes 1 bucket. instead of 1 bucket becomes 100 millibuckets. I'm cool like that. All right, so that's this dude, extracting sulfur, obtaining sulfur, or the soul. Sulfur extraction is part of the ore purification that leads to multiplication. One ore or raw material yields multiple sulfurs, which then each can be refined into an ingot. Right-click the liquefaction cauldron with a sol ammoniac bucket to fill it. So liquefaction cauldron. All right, so that got the 2 buckets in there. And let's make sure that we understand how the liquefaction cauldron works. Now right-click the liquefaction cauldron with the item you want to extract sulfur from, such as raw iron. The item will be placed inside. Now add fuel, such as coal, to the pyromantic brazier below the cauldron to heat it up. After a while, some sulfur will have been extracted. You can right-click the liquefaction cauldron with an empty hand to obtain the alchemical sulfur. Cool. So underneath here, we're going to need this guy, which is basically like a heater, right? And we put coal in it. Well, or charcoal, I assume. Okay, and that heats it up. And then we put iron in here. So let's start with like... Let's do 10 at a time, right? And this should triple, but I'm curious to see how much... Okay, so it uses a very tiny amount of that sal ammoniac stuff. But that's cool. All right, and then we're getting alchemical sulfur iron, right? And I assume that there's like a lot of alchemical sulfur. Yeah, looks like there's a bunch of it. Of all different kinds. Interesting. Okay. Getting there. Getting there. Starting to understand the process a little bit. Okay, so that's that piece, right? Now, extracting mercury, which is the spirit. Mercury is the spirit or energy contained within matter. Like salt, it is needed to create items from alchemical sulfur. Almost all items yield mercury, but the more valuable and the more refined the item, the more mercury they will yield. Right-click the mercury distiller with any mercury-yielding item, such as crops, food, ores, raw metals, but also stone, sand, glass. For low-value items, you may need to add multiple items at once to obtain even more, 1 shard of mercury. Okay, so the mercury distiller, I'm going to put here, I think. Mercury distiller. Now, he may need a heat source as well. Feel like he probably will, but we'll find out. Now add fuel. After a while, some mercury shards will have been created. You can right-click with an empty hand to obtain them. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward as well, right? So you also get charcoal. And whatever we put in here will turn into mercury shards based on the rarity of it. So if I put like half it... Ooh, look at you being all cool looking. Neato burrito. I like it. Okay. So, like, the rarer the item you put in there, like, the more shards you're likely to get, I assume? Cool. Okay. So I've got that done. Cool. Mercurial logistics, transportation, and automation. Alchemical mercury has the unique property of temporarily converting matter to energy and back. Properly applied, this allows for the transportation of matter and automation of processes in ways previously thought impossible. Visit the chapter on mercurial logistics to understand how that works. We will... Now, it said that was coming in the future, but, like, maybe it's already a little bit in there? I guess we'll find out. We'll find out for sure, but not yet. First, I want to extract salt. Salt is needed in order to create items from alchemical sulfur. The type of salt needs to match the type of sulfur. For our project that involves iron sulfur, we need mineral salt, which covers all types of ores and metals. Right-click a calcination oven with any mineral, such as ores and raw materials or ingots, to calcinate it. Okay, so that'll be... And I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that this needs to be here, right? And then we will have a calcination oven, right? With any mineral, such as ores, raw metals, or ingots, to calcinate it. Charcoal is a great source as it is renewable. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Throw half a stack of charcoal in there. Look at that fanciness. I like it. So you converted all your wheat, so that's nice. Give me like a whole stack if you don't mind. More. And then you're making alchemical salt of minerals. Now, if I get some of this, can I actually see how to make minerals? Yeah, okay. There you go. So all the... Okay, calcination. Nice. All right, so there's minerals, there's strata, which I assume is like stones and rocks and anything that's not minerals. And then, ooh, creatures. That's cool. Creatures. So that's strata. So see, like, any, like, blocks are strata. Oh, that's interesting. Blue ice gives you a stack of them. Based on, like, the other numbers, I wonder if that's, like, a typo? I don't know. Also strata, minerals for any kind of ores. Plants will be plants. Okay, good to know. So mostly strata, plants, mineral, and animals is all I've seen so far. I believe that to be true. Plants, plants, plants. Minerals, strata. And yeah, so the only thing to get animals from is this one. 2 plants turn into creatures. Okay, that's neat. And then you're getting all your minerals going. Sweet. Okay, and then you have some more mercury for me. Cool. All right, it's starting to click. It's starting to click. Okay. Recycling strata, using stone, sand, and dirt to create mineral salt. Ooh. As discovered in the previous entry, alchemical process that should create metals or gems need alchemical salt created from these types of minerals. This, of course, is somewhat expensive as it consumes valuable minerals that we could use otherwise. Sedimentary strata contain trace amount of minerals. With the right process, we can obtain alchemical salt from them. This is a 2-step process. First, we calcinate the strata to obtain alchemical salt strata. Then we calcinate 5 of these, again, to receive a small amount of it. Okay, cool. So basically what it's saying is you can get 5 strata, right? And it can be refined into 1 mineral. So basically, like, you have to use some metals, or in this case charcoal, to get the mineral salt. But if you want to just use dirt and stone, you can. You just need to, like, get 5 of them and then combine them in the oven thing to get... Okay. I think that's neat. That's pretty cool. I like it. I'm down. I'm on board with that. You get 2 mineral per charcoal, and we have infinity charcoal. So I'm probably going to stick with using charcoal for minerals, but it's all good. Okay. Cool. So, like, this guy has to pipe over to this guy, right? And then this guy produces mercury. This guy produces iron, sulfur, right? And then this guy produces the mercury shards, right? So basically, like, there's one of these for everything. There's categories of these, and then there's just one total of these. Like, it's always mercury shard, right? There's categories, 5 of them, right? Minerals, creatures, plants, strata. Was it 4? Whatever. And then this guy, there's probably like a unique sulfur for each type of thing you can make. Cool. All right, now the last step of this whole process, I assume, is the incubator. So that's recycling plants to create creature salt. We kind of figured that out already, right? I don't know what we can use creature salt for. Creature salt. Okay, we'll figure that out eventually. So incubating iron. The final step is to recombine the 3 principles into usable iron ingots. Right-click the incubator sulfur vessel, incubator salt vessel, and incubator mercury vessel with the sulfur, salt, and mercury you obtained earlier, respectively, to fill them. Okay. Providing heat. Now add fuel, such as coal, to the pyromantic brazier below the incubator to heat it up. After a while, input items have been incubated, and then it's 3x iron. Cool. So I assume, therefore, that this is going to be this guy going here with a little bit of charcoal in him, right? And then you're going to go there. So I'm not quite sure how this incubator works. Did I miss the part where it tells me how the incubator works? Right-click the incubator mercury vessel with the sulfur. Incubator mercury vessel? Apparatus, distiller, incubator. Oh, okay. Incubation is the process of recombination of principles of magic. The incubator has one vessel for each of the principles and a central chamber where the combination takes place. Cool. Okay. And then mercury, salt, and sulfur vessels. Cool. So we're going to want a mercury, salt, and sulfur vessel. Okay. So this is mercury, salt, and sulfur. So it would be something like U, 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 and if it's assembled correctly, it should smoke. I think I'm going to put the salt on the back so I can access this underneath thing from here. And that should be cool. So mercury goes into the mercury vessel, salt, and sulfur. And it's smoking. Cool. Okay. Hey, look at that. And then it's going to combine these things into what I assume is going to be iron ingots. Right? So we put 10 raw iron in, we're going to eventually get 30 raw iron out. So that's like super beginner theurgy. Right? I like it. Liquefaction cauldron, we kind of got that all covered. We're good on that. Calcination oven, I think we got this thing all covered. I like it. Distiller, we did that, right? Yep. And then this thing, pyromantic dude. I like it. Okay. So, intro 101 to Theurgy seems to be working pretty well. I think we'll wrap up the episode here and come back next time and play with this mod a little bit more. I'm definitely digging it. I'm clearly not super interested in the ore duplication process. Though that said, this would be a great early game or tripler because it's not that hard to set up. Dare I say, pretty easy to set up considering most of these were copper, right? So not a whole lot of complexity here to get this thing rolling. Automating it might be a little bit more of a process, but not terrible. But still, like a nice early game way to triple your ore output. I wouldn't have minded this early on. But we'll play with it more next episode. I'm more interested, I think, in the transmutative properties. Like, can I use this to produce quartz out of, like, redstone or something like that? Because I still haven't automated quartz yet. It's on my to-do. So maybe we'll use this mod to automate quartz. I don't know. We'll find out. For now, LetsPlay sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You know what time it is. It's time to take it easy.